Okay, I got a rear door actuator that's acting up. It's the mechanism that fits in right here on the car. I'm gonna have to take it out and replace it. I'll let you hear how it sounds when you actuate. So as you can hear, it's kind of making a grinding sound. It actually locks the car when you lock it, but it's getting to the point where it may not. So first we'll need to remove the door panel. So we're gonna have to remove this little panel here. There's some screws behind it. Down here, this little panel right here, we're gonna have to remove screw behind it. And we've got some other little panels right here. And then we got one, I think it's on the bottom of here, under here. These all have to pop out and they got screws behind it. I'll show you the screws in a minute when I get all the panels popped out. Okay, we got two screws behind the door handle. We got one screw down in here. We got one screw in there. And let's see if I can see what's on the bottom here. Looks like one screw in there. So take those out and then we'll start working on the door panel and I'll show you how to get that off. It just pops in. So as you see, these screws are different sizes. This one came out of the armrest here. These two came from behind the door handle. And these two long ones, they were in the pull arm right here and down here. The little short black one was right there, and the two black ones with the big heads were right behind here. So you want to keep your screws in the proper order and separate it, so when you put them back in, you put them back in on the proper location. Okay, the door panel just pries loose along the edges there. It's got some push snaps that hold it in place. So all you got to do is pry around the edges of the door, get close to the push tabs, and pry out. I can't find my pry tools for some reason. I have no idea where they are. So I'm just going to use a small flathead screwdriver to pry around the edges. Okay, as you can see the little white snaps that hold it in place. They go all along the edge here. So next thing we need to do is take this little black panel off, because it'll stop the door from pulling up. Because once you got all those snapped loose, all you got to do is lift and the door just sits and hangs on this edge here inside the window. The little cover piece also has the same little snaps that hold it in place, and it just pops into those holes right there. Now we'll be able to lift the door, and then there'll be a couple of cables that I have to disconnect and things to pop loose. I'm going to pop this out of the door itself to where it remains with the door instead of with the panel. And then we'll probably have something here to come loose, but I'll show you that in a moment. So as we see, the door opening handle is connected here. Then we got down here, we got a cable going in here, and once I pop those loose, should be able to just take the panel off and get everything open on the inside of the door. Here just plugs right into this plug right here, and there's just a little clip holding it. Once you squeeze the clip, it just pulls right out. And then the door handle here, you see the little clips here that hold it, and then there's just these little clips with the metal on them that hold that in place, so you can just push it right out. Okay, this little clip here, this cable, it goes into the door actuator mechanism. So I'm going to have to take this loose. I'm going to have to loosen these three Phillips heads. I got a large Phillips head screwdriver, so hopefully I can get enough torque on it. I may have to loosen this. This is the track, I think, for the window. This bolt holds the track in place. I may have to just take this out and allow a little room to get the actuator itself past the window track. So this is a 10 millimeter. This is a big Phillips head. And definitely this here cabling mechanism going into the lock. I'll have to pull all this out. Also, once I pull this out by releasing the little clip, I noticed that there is a screw here holding the actuator in from the side also. This was under the cable, so I didn't see it. So this here screw, which is a Phillips head, also needs to come out. Plus this this splash guard that's inside the door, this little black stuff is really sticky. So you have to be careful not to tear the plastic, because you want to put it back in place, because it stops moisture from getting inside the door panel to the electrical mechanism. So want to keep that intact, so I'll have to pop this out. I've got a scraper to try to and a straight blade to try to get this loose, because I should just be able to take like the front portion from here on up out of the way, so I can get the mechanism out and back in, and then we'll put this splash guard back in place. I'm going to need to pop it out behind the clip and see if I can get this arm out from the door handle, and pop that out and get this loose and pull the actuator out. Now I got the little clamp from around it. Now the hard part is getting that little arm to slide out of the little holder there. Going to work on getting that out. As you can see, it's in there tight. If you pull from the bottom too low, it puts it in a bind, so you got to kind of pull it straight out, which makes it hard because you can't really get fingers in there really well. So I'm going to see maybe a pair of pliers to pull it straight out, or see if I can get it with my hands. Okay, I had to remove this little cover. It covered this hole right here, and I actually had to get a long screwdriver in there and reach that little handle thing that was stuck in there, and it allowed me to push from this side in with the long screwdriver to get that little handle to pop out. Okay, now I'm going to take the cover off of here so we can get the door inside door handle off. These two cables connect inside, like right here and then right here. Once we get those out, we'll use this old cover and put it back on. I think the two screws we have to take loose are right here, this little Phillips and this little Phillips right here. So take those off and show you the mechanism. As I said, this little one locks in. It's got this little mechanism right here to hold it in place. It goes through there, little notch holding it right there on that mechanism. This one here has the same thing, got a little notch, and it goes in a little hole right there, which is a little hole on this piece right here. Gonna take those out, swap them out, and put the old cover back on, and we'll be ready to put this baby back in. This side, it has a little bent tip, so you want to put that in there and get it down and pivot it in, and then snap this piece in place. This one's pretty easy. You snap it in place. The little clip is down. You drop your little angled pin down in the hole right there, and then you push the little clip on top of it and holds it in place. You can see the little tip from the angled piece sticking out on the end there. So you slide it in nose first, tilt it back, and then you'll get it in there perfectly. Snap this in place, and as we're seeing, this one, put the nose, this clip is down towards the bottom, put the nose piece in there, then slide this little clip up and it'll just snap on, and then you're ready to go. So on the top, if you look closely, you can see the lip that goes underneath this piece. So you want to slide it in on both sides, put those lips under there, and just slide it forward to get that in place, and it'll kind of lock in place. It's going to take me two hands to get this in there properly, but I just wanted to show you that so that you make sure you can get it in there good. Okay, you see that bolt there in the middle, the bolt hole in the middle, that's where the rail track is taken loose from the bottom where I showed you earlier. The best way to get that thing in and out is to slide the actuator down from the top and kind of lift that rail track up and slide it under that, and then you're able to pull it out. Putting it back in, you pull that up and you get the big protruding part that goes behind it, underneath it, slide it up, and then work your way on up here, and then you're able to get it in there pretty easy. Make sure that you get the little arm piece on the opposite side there so you can slide it back in. But we're going to get things screwed in place, and then I'll snap that back in. But I put screws in place, but I don't tighten. You want to make sure all bolts are in, all nuts are in place before you tighten anything. Always remember that. It's always easier once they're all loose. Once one is tight, you're going to have to take it loose eventually, probably to get things in the right place. Okay, I got the little handle mechanism back in place. I got the clip down on it. Now it's getting time to put everything back in place, tighten it up, put the rail bolts back in. Before we put the door on, we want to check the locking mechanism, the door panel. I mean, before we put the door panel, we want to check the locking mechanism once we get everything tight. Okay, we're going to test out the lock. Got it locked. Hit the unlock. See if it unlocks. Ah, good, good. Lock again. Locked. Looks like we're all done. Now we need to put the screws and things back. We're going to get these panels lined up, get the proper screws in the right places, and then we're all done. Okay, we need to get these pins lined up. Okay, there's one down there. Need to push it in, make it snap. We do that all the way around the door on both sides. You can hear them snapping in place. Okay, that's good and tight. Now we're lining up screw in here. The two big long silver screws in the arm handles, the pull handle I mean, and then we got the two black screws in there, and we'll be all done. Okay, all the panels are back in place on the doors. Put the little cover back on, snapped in place. Under here, all the bolts and screws are back in place. We're all good. Everything's working. Window switch works up and down. The rail's tightened back in place. Screws are in. Child safety switch right here is working. And the locks work. That's the main thing. No more of that grinding sound in the gears. I want to give you an idea of the tools I used. I used my little magnetic tray for my nuts and bolts and screws. This is a 10mm socket for taking the window rail bolt loose. Use this little screwdriver just to pop out the little covers on the screws in the door panel. I use this little scraper razor to cut the black material so I wouldn't tear the plastic. This is a number 2 screwdriver, Phillips head, for the door panel screws. This here is a number 3 Phillips head for the screws that hold the actuator to the door itself. They're really hard, so I bought this 5-piece impact screwdriver with a number 3 head on it, and basically you put the number 3 head in here and you can bang this with a hammer because those screws were really hard to get loose. I got 2 of them loose with a lot of force and strain myself, but the 3rd screw was about to get to the point where it's stripping, so I went and bought this from Autozone. I'll put a link to it in the information, and also see if they got one on Amazon a little cheaper. I use this 1/4-inch screw driver to pop the little mechanism off that holds the arm into the outside door handle, and that's basically what I used. And I'll put a link to the part that I bought the actuator itself off Amazon.